It says I'm live. Hopefully that worked a little better. Putting the link in Facebook. Hope so anyway. Um, I sent Wesley a. Yes, I'm prepping tires too. It smells like prepping here. I am still undecided what track I'm going to. I had a plan to do one track, and then I may do another track. It's a little further away, but we'll see. I haven't heard a response from Wesley yet, but then again, he's a busy guy. I've said it before. I'll say it. He's a very important person. He's got a lot going on. So um, I didn't get a whole lot of questions on the Facebook, but always open to chatting and any questions anybody has, anything, want to bench race about anything, want to discuss anything. I know, where was it? Oh, I think I was listening to NASCAR, Sirius XM NASCAR, and they were talking about down south, Carolinas and such, getting like it's been raining for 3-4 days or something like that. I was like, I have no idea. I'm up here, so we've been fairly dry. We got a little, I guess it's during the summer, New York, at least where I live, we get some Florida-like behavior, so it'll get really muggy and pretty, like high 80s, 90s, sometimes into the hundreds. It's real humid here, and then it'll like midday shower, and I'm like, hey, I've experienced this before when I've been down in Florida, so uh, that's a it's not a new experience. It's just every year, people think that New York is snow and cold and all this, and actually during the summer, I live in a valley too. Um, we get, I don't know if it traps in the humidity or what the deal is, but it gets pretty warm here. Oh, okay. I love it down south. My ideal plan would be to get my son through college, get him kind of on his road. I got two kids. My daughter's doing whatever she's doing. She's undecided. She's older than my son is, but my son just got done with his first year of college. Get him through his 4 years of college, and then let him decide what he's going to do. And ideally, I would like to move south. I would like to come down. Meet maybe. My wife doesn't want to go to Florida. Maybe meet her halfway. Carolinas, North Carolina, Tennessee, somewhere. Uh, Ideally, I very well could spend the rest of my life in New York, not by choice, but maybe. Honestly, I haven't gotten to run the Reapers yet. Matter of fact, the track that so here's the interesting thing about Reapers is if there's an open tire track, which we have a couple around here. Um, on our type of soil, my experience is with Vaga yellows. I ran them in UAS for a long, long, long time. Certain tracks burst 33s, but mostly Vaga yellows. And when a track is open tire, I'm more comfortable with the Vegas. So it's just like, do you show up to that track, and I should be putting time in on the Reapers. Absolutely. For experience, for knowledge, for all that stuff. But also those tracks are, the tracks I want to run are hour and a half away. And it's, are you going to show up and be running Reapers against Vegas? I don't want to say it's a losing battle. It's just a different battle. Your adjustments, your prepping, your everything else is going to be different because of my experience so far is they don't like heavy prep. They don't drop durometer a whole lot, and they're a bugger to size. Like I like a good inch and a half or close to it. Rear stagger on this clone just helps it turn, especially on our smaller tracks. And I'm looking at the Reapers trying to, they their Duro doesn't come down, and I will say that I was told before that not to worry about the durometer so much, just what prep you're putting on them. So it's, but with an open tire track? Do you go with a tire that you're more comfortable with? A Vega, I can prep heavy. I'm used to. I know what they do. I know what they like. Or do I try the Reapers? I should be, as you know, as somebody who does videos and stuff, I should be running them. And then this track that I was going to go to, matter of fact, I'm prepping a set right now of Reapers. Gonna give them a whirl in the heat race or something, or maybe practice, see how they behave, see if I like them, see how, gauge how they were compared to people on Vegas. Um, but then I'm going to this other track, and I hear that the tire choice is Vega with low duro. So it's like, this other track was my recon from somebody I trust said that Reapers are competitive on that track, so I was willing to give them a whirl and see what they do. But this other track, I hear that is, if you're not on Vegas, you're in trouble. So uh, I sent him a message. So uh, yeah, tracks I run here, pink and blues. Nice. Don't like them on a small block. Yeah, I've I ran. So I've run the Reapers on the clone once, and I've run the Reapers on the open once, and I wasn't not see that's it's not fair to judge the tire because they, honestly, the guy who started next to me in the open, it was my 270 stroke against his 450, and I launched and got to the first turn. And afterwards, he brought up, he's just like, dude, are you on the Reapers? I was like, yeah. I said, they bite, but my handling has just been so off on the open. It's just, I don't want to say I'm defeated. I have an idea of what I'm going to do for setup on that thing. But I just have to have the gumption to run it. Right now, it's honestly, it's a lot easier to run the clone. They take so much less effort in my, don't get me wrong, more effort on tires, but as far as maintenance and all that stuff, the open is it's a bear. I've been doing it for so long that it's not difficult or anything. It's just, I got to run methanol, got to purge down, got to this, got to that, and there's a whole lot to the open, and I got to drive. They just ran a double header, and both tracks were it was a Friday night and Saturday night for UAS, and both tracks were 3.5 to 4.5 hours away from me. That is part of the reason why I'm taking a break on UAS is the travel just sucks. I used to run UAS or at least open engine karts locally at Paradise Speedway because I liked how big and long and straightaways were. I love the sensation of speed, but that track has since closed. So my running the open more often, it's just easier to run the clone. Yeah, no problem. I wish I had more experience. I just this is also an adjustment for me to run more often. So when I was running UAS, honestly, I'd run 5 to 10 races most a year because it takes such an effort. Hotel rooms, the fuel, the abuse on the engine, the this and the that. It's cubic dollars when you get into open racing when you're trying to push as much horsepower as you can out of those smaller or not say smaller out of them engines. Things can go wrong in a hurry. Sometimes they go right. I mean, it's pretty reliable engine package, but it's just to go UAS racing. It's always travel. It's always here. It's always. I love my friends. I love to get to see them. I love to race against them. I love the horsepower. I love all that stuff. But clone is just honestly a little easier because things are closer to me. I don't have to travel as much to get the experience I kind of need on it. But there's also the dividing time between family and racing. Everybody wants to go racing, but while my kids are still, they're not young, 18 and 22, they're still around and I still get to spend time with them. So me going to the racetrack every single Saturday is not an option for me. I need to spend time with them, go on vacation, do these things, go out. We're going to go to the drive-in tomorrow night, spend time with my kids while they're still somewhat young till they go off. And, we all know how kids just decide that, all right, I had enough of this place. I'm out. I spit on the screen. I think I spit on the screen. Yeah, opens are a bugger. They're just when they run great, and I have nothing but praise for Buller's Bama 250 package, 270, 300, whatever you want to call it. It became a modern day sedan engine. It became very reliable, very predictable. I knew what it was going to do, but in comparison to changing the oil on a clone, it's a lot more work and it's a lot more expensive when things go wrong. When you eat a piston, it tends to, you got a jug, you got this, you got that, and to whereas just replacing the top end on a two-stroke is buying a whole brand new clone. Just right, like just give me a fresh one. There we go, and you're ready to go. So I get why people run the clone stuff. When you start pushing the boundaries with industrial engines, getting more horsepower out of them. It's been the same story for as long as I think last week I was mentioning. I used to Tecumseh Stars were still kind of around. Tower of Power, I call them, Bobby Baldwin and Beef, and my friends there used to build these monstrosity Tecumsehs and weld it, and they had plates on the side and all this, and they made great power, but the camshafts, the crankshafts, they're made to be on a tiller. They're not made to turn the type of sustained RPM that that we turn them in UAS stuff. I think the clone stuff, even the Predator stuff, like the Ghost stuff, it's purpose built, so it's not a Briggs flathead, which is it's a lawnmower engine that people tried to get a lot of horsepower out of, and the 14.5 there. It's tough. Oh yeah, yeah. My suggestion when people are getting into UAS open racing is always go with the 450 because for local racing you can get a ton of power out here. They come with a good amount of power. Get used to that sensation, this and that. But on the bigger stage, if you do not have headwork, if you do not have a high compression piston, if you do not port and polished and the whole nine, if you're not running what was that frickin' that fuel? I run M5 or when I can in the two stroke, but it's like it's 112 octane or something. It's gnarly. It smells gnarly. They run some serious stuff in the 450s to get them to output some serious horsepower. So when you get on the bigger stage, you don't have to run it, but you're definitely when you're going down. If you're on a bigger track and you don't have that work done on some of the 450s, you're going to know it in a hurry because all of a sudden, rah, and right by you they go. Yeah. Yep. I really like alcohol and run dual carbs, and everybody's like, just run a single. So I could talk about that a little bit, I guess, because there's experience. Why us two-stroke guys run dual carbs? It is airspeed. So with two smaller Venturis, you speed up the air in the fuel mixture to the engine. So you're not getting, I think, oh, two carbs, twice the problem. It's not really. They're, one offsets the other. If you make a slight adjustment to one, it doesn't completely offset the other. You can fine tune them a little easier because now you have four adjustments. I'm talking about, your basic Tillies. Here, let's take a look. I'll flip you around here. There's my fan because it's still warm. So we'll come around here and I'll just kind of point this out. So yeah, now I have four adjustments: low speed, high speed, and then the same on the underside of this. So you're getting essentially the same charge as a big single. Say one of the you can run slides. Slides are better than if you just run a big single type Tilly, because what happens there is that takes such a gulp of fuel and air mixture that the engine will have a hard time processing it. So if you speed up the air mixture on the two, it creates this turbulence and it atomizes the fuel better and takes the same amount of charge, but it gets into the engine faster. That's the concept on that. So that you get that a lot, that people, just run a big single. You can, but especially on a two-stroke, what you get on that is an extreme lag. So you'll come into the corner, you lift to get the corner. When you go back in it, that carburetor, when those butterflies slam shut, it stuffs a whole bunch of fuel into the carburetor, and starts to seep in. And when you open the butterfly back up, it takes a huge charge, and the engine has a hard time processing it. It goes, and you get this huge lag of this big puff of smoke. Now, I'm not quite sure on 4-strokes, you know, the bigger 4-strokes, they do tend to run, you know, slide carbs, stuff like that, which works better because you have that knife that comes down and you can meter how much fuel is coming in. That's airspeed. That's controlling the amount of air and fuel coming in. To whereas those big are just, it's not that it's not possible to run those big ones, but it's better, in my opinion, to run 2 singles because of the airspeed and how much that atomizes the fuel charge. You know what? While I'm here, shoot, you know, I'm going to do something that I tell people not to do. I'm going to prep tires, and I'm gonna not put on gloves. Always wear gloves. Be safe. So I got to have soft tires for this weekend if I do go to the one track. I'll be right back on the screen here. And I have very limited area in my trailer. That's why the set of tires is on this cart, because my rack is already full of tires in the small trailer. It's a 4x8. If you guys were wondering how big the trailer is I run now. Always wear gloves when putting prep on. Yes, absolutely. I was hitting them pretty good last night when I was trying to decide whether or not what track I went to. Poster. I got these freaking things everywhere. So in UAS, when you do, you know, pretty well, I got them everywhere. You know, I got a bunch of top 10s in UAS national points. So I got a whole bunch of these things, or Northeast Divisional. It's funny. I have Northeast Divisional. My championship poster is right there. It's the one that shows up in the videos. It's a small one. It's like the yeah, I know. Don't do this. Don't try this at home. I am a trained, not professional, because I shouldn't be doing this without gloves on. If I didn't know that I was going to wash my hands directly after this with some stuff right over yonder. But I just thought while we're sitting here gabbing until I get some questions, might as well get some work done. And sorry, I don't know, Wesley must be busy. It is what it is. It's tough for me to get time, you know, with the family stuff, and it's tough for him to get time with the family stuff and business stuff. So, right here, this one, small one, that's my Northeast Divisional Championship. It's so much smaller than the other ones. All right, so this question here, do you change your cross from track to track? What differentiates the high cross track from a lower cross track? This is in general. This is not, nothing is set in stone, because I tell you what, that on the open I ran, and that's part of the problem, I ran a lot more cross on the open. When I got into the clone stuff, especially this local track, I found myself dropping my cross on the track. Now, in general, I say your looser type tracks, you're harder to get a hold of tracks, where you're running Vega Yellows, where you're running Burris 11s, they tend to run lower cross. When you get onto high bite stuff down south, when you're running Maxxis pinks and blues, higher bite, or Vega blues, whatever it is that you're running, the higher bite tracks tend to run more cross. At least that's how typical, new chassis are designed. Is that set in stone? Absolutely not. I wouldn't, this local track that I run, you guys aren't running my cart, you're not running my tires or anything like that. I'm all the way down to 59% cross. That is a 2017 Phantom Recon, and I am at 59% cross, and it worked the best it has so far. I tried to up the cross, I got it up to 63 or 64%, and it got tight on me. And then normally I would suggest adding cross to get away from tight, but it had the opposite. I was actually lower. I was down in the 60s, and then I came up on it and it got tight on me, so I dropped cross out of it. This particular track with low bite that you have to run softer tires on, it actually helped to drop cross. That's why when I say that, manufacturers have a suggested cross setting or suggested, that is merely a suggestion. That is a baseline. Here, start here and then make adjustments. Everybody's track is going to be way different whether or not you're going to run high or low cross. Oh, oh, there's Wesley. Hey, man. Yeah, it's I've really, do you ever internal yellow Vega tires for you? All the time and a whole lot. Very aggressive with Vega yellows internally. I know that when they came out with them, they're like, hey, you don't need to prep these. It's regularly for, I do ounces. There's more specific ways, CCs or whatever people want to do. But I like to add, most of my Vegas, depending on how low you want to go. If you want to just give the bite, give a little bit of bite to the tire, I'd say 2 ounces right sides, ounce left. It's really track dependent, whatever you want to do. I've gone as far as 4.5 ounces right, half that in the lefts. I to get them goopy. We have some super soft tracks up here, and we run. Sometimes like a Northeast Divisional would be in a AMS, and the track is it's cold out, it's 30 degrees, and you want a tire punch at 20. Heavy internal, and then really heavy external too. You go. You don't. You honestly don't, Matthew. I would say start with your baseline. It's really hard. I'm not changing anything. So I just told you that I have 59% on this track on this cart right now, and a little more left than I would like, but then just because I'm heavy. But I'm not changing a thing from what I run at my local track, AMS. I'm just going to call it my local track because it's an hour from me. I've run there the most this year. But if I go down to this track in PA, it's a different gearing, it's a different banking, but I don't honestly know. And I'm relating things to me and experiences that I have. I'm not changing a thing until I have to change something. So if I get down there and this setup is completely off, obviously you're going to make changes. But to know for certain, the only differencing part would be if I was going down south, if I was going to Hunterstown, PA, I would just jack that thing full of cross. I would put as much cross as possible into it because that's a high bike track. If I was going down south, and I would put as much cross as I possibly could in it down there. Does that mean that's always the answer? No, absolutely not. But for in general speaking, that higher bike track, a good track is what it's called, higher cross. When you get into the looser stuff, then your variabilities of crosses change. I would say just if it's lower bite, harder to get a hold of, take some cross out of it, see what it does. Lower 60s, okay. Higher bite, jack it up. Get it closer to 70 and see what happens. But yeah, I'd say typically people are doing that, but it really depends. I have to shoot a video, so I'm going racing. I got to get a video done tonight. Yeah, I'm going to see Deadpool tomorrow, so I'm not gonna have time then. And if I go to that track in PA, which is 3 hours away, um, um, I'm not gonna have time to shoot it in the morning or edit it, even if I did shoot it in the morning. So I'm gonna have to. All right, good thing I thought of that. I'll have to shoot a video tonight. I don't even know what to do. You would not believe the list of video ideas I have. Doesn't mean they're all good ideas. No, some of them are regurgitated. Some of them are just I worded. I write it down. I'll be at work and I'm thinking about the channel, or just sometimes I'm listening to, like I said, Sirius Satellite NASCAR. They'll mention something. A driver will say something. It pops into my head. It's just like that is applicable to kart racing, because racing is racing. Mindset, just these things, these ideas that I have come during the day. I'll jot them down in my notes. So I scroll and scroll and scroll. There's so many video ideas that I've had that I haven't done. I could probably I could probably do 2 videos a week again, but it's a pain trying to split time between family and work and doing this channel and doing the live stream here. This replaced my second video a week. Um, I'm thank you by the way, all 16 of you or whoever views this in the what is it? It's called something replay. Here we go. Um, I can just chat it up as long as you guys have questions or comments. I can elaborate on stuff. Like I said, I don't know everything, but I try my best to make hard stuff explainable. That's probably one thing about me that there are a lot of idiocy. There's a lot of things to racing, to karting, to very complicated type things, and I try and make it understandable the best I can. Um, does it mean I completely understand it? No, but when I've used a complicated topic, front end geometry, I try and break it down to, okay, this is turning this way, so that's during doing that in the corner, and this is turning that way. So I try and explain it to you, not that I know exactly what's going on, but you have to think in that, all right, this when you turn the wheel, this is what happens. So I don't, some of it's really hard to explain, but I try and get it down to its basic, understandable type of it's it's a difficult sport for as simple as go-karts are. They're extraordinarily complex. If I do that other track, I gotta change gear too. That's one thing I'm ill prepared for going to different tracks. I only have but one driver. It's 11. So I'm gonna be at this track. I was told that it'll be 11:53, or at least they're gonna, the person I was bouncing the idea off was gonna run 11:53. Chances are I'm heavier. I'm probably gonna be 11:54 anyway. Um, I tend to require a tooth or two more, even if I'm running like 375. Just something about me, the way I get up off the corner. Um, oh God, my my dad is into that stuff. So currently my dad builds or was building UAS engines, Taft racing engines, which was the basic. It's a cast version of the Bama. You just put whatever 250 two-stroke jug on it, and then he got into some machining stuff and this and that, and he's trying to explain it to me, and it's just jargon, blah blah blah. Okay, and this and that, and then he got into CAD design, and now he's trying to recast Max, the old Kart engine. I know he's done exhaust and stuff like that, but he's trying to make a CAD design so he can actually recast the old Max. And it's just like he's trying to explain it to me, and I wish him well, but it's like, buddy, I build stuff with my hands, and like it's tough. Uh, Okay, last race we had both right side tires get warm to the touch, and the lefts did not heat up. What would this indicate? I would say, I want to say not enough left, but that's not always the case. Um, that seems like a whole lot of rollover to me. So your right sides would be biting, so maybe it's too much right side because you're getting a whole lot of rollover. I know that's a thing up here up north is we don't run nearly well, except for me because I'm heavy. But you try and run maybe a little less left. Try and get down in the 57 range, sometimes the 56 range, which is what I used to run on my lower cross carts back in the day. To get that rollover, to get that side bite because there's so little bite up here. But it sounds like maybe you have a little too much right side bite. I would try and get left a little more. And the only problem with getting more left is if you get too much, you're liable to get a four-wheel drift. That's how I was able to tell in the with the open engine. I mean, I can put my seat wherever in that because the open engine is so heavy on my right side that my left side doesn't counteract it as bad. Um, I could move my seat around and dial in some left or dial in some right. But if I dialed in too much left, I had a tendency to four-wheel drift, and then the right side tires weren't biting at all. But if both tires, if your left front and left rear are not getting a temperature in it, I would assume that you have a little too much right side into it, and not enough left, and your tires are rolling over. Your right sides are really digging in, your left just aren't. I don't know about stagger. That might also be something to do with it, but I wouldn't know how to. I don't know where I'd go with stagger in order to counteract that. If there's anything, I wouldn't say it's a tire durometer or anything, because if you're running all four tires that are the same, that they should technically bite, similar. Uh, Too much nose, more rear, especially if you're running an open. So I'll bring this up, and maybe this will apply to you. So I've always run a fairly standard setup with my open. Bama 270, 70 horsepower, whatever you want to say it is. Buller says 80. I say it's more like 70. Anyway, I've always run a standard setup with nose. I've always run 45.5 to 46.5 on the nose. Talking to some of my local friends with their bigger 450s, they're all running way less nose, like 43, 44, somewhere in there, to where's they're driving the cart with the rear power. It's not the way I've driven. I don't pitch it. I don't like that. I like to drive a car, but I will take what they say to be true, at least for them, their application and stuff like that. Maybe it's something you want to play with. Maybe dialing a little more rear, pardon me, into the cart. That maybe dialing a little more rear into the cart would be ideal, especially with a little more horsepower to it, and kind of going along the lines of what they do. I can't disagree with them. For whatever I got going on with the scythe, my running that 46 nose, it doesn't like it. Whatever setup I got going on in it that was working for me so well for a couple of years there, it didn't like it this past year, and I'm at a loss. So that's one of the things I was actually going to play with. I was going to play with dropping some cross. I was going to play with dropping some left, and I was going to play with dropping some nose and try and get the rear of the cart to bite in and then adjust from there. But the problem is mentally with me, if it does not turn, I get mad. I get I'd rather drive a loose cart than a tight cart, man. Tight carts just make me upset. It makes me upset in the clone. If it doesn't turn, it makes me upset. I would rather pedal it and try and do my best to find grip with the rear, um, and have it turn, have it go where I want it to go, rather than, I know that the bite is great, and that's, some people drive them tight. I just hate that. If you have to stand on the brake, if you spike the brake, just drives me freaking nuts. But it's something you might want to play with. Maybe try and put a little more rear in it, see if it helps. And I'm not saying that's the only adjustment you need. Maybe if you're moving rear, maybe you should drop some cross out of it and see if that happens. But if we're running the same cart, try lower cross, try lower 60s. Because that's what I was going to try that with that lower 60s, maybe high 50s, and see where it goes. I know a long time ago, different chassis and everything like that. But Robbie Sarchet, however you want to pronounce it, he was an absolute monster in the UAS scene, and they were running an eccentric, and they were running it down in the low 50s for cross, and it just freaking worked. The horsepower is right, the power is right. Now they would chew the crap out of the left rear tire. I mean, they'd eat the crap out, or right rear tire. I'm sorry, right rear tire, left rear tire. I think they were just mowing stuff up. But it was lightning fast, and I'm not quite sure what they're on now. But every time they show up to the track, they're usually pretty good. Yeah, you aren't kidding. Uh, it's a bugger too. When you don't have the horsepower, you can't get yourself out of a sticky situation. Like It's one of the things I will say that, transferring over the clone racing is I'm not tight by open standards, but I'm tight by clone standards. And I can tell when I have to lift, when I'm having to, burp, if I'm having to, put too much wheel into it, that I'm scrubbing speed. It's definitely something that, it's a new experience. Whether or not I'm getting good at it remains to be seen. But it's been a fun experience so far. Uh, I'm almost excited to take what I've learned and what I feel on this and apply it to the open. But I need to find a particular race that I'm going to hit this year. I think I'm going to get it out at least one more time. The open out one last time this year, whether it be AMS or if they have a Northeast division or something like that, I might go and run with my boys and have some fun, get my ass kicked properly, because there's no way I'm showing up without any open experience. Well, I say that, but then again, maybe I got something in my bag of tricks now that I'll be able to adjust, properly come feature time. But yeah, so let's come over here. It's funny when I stream with Wesley, I like to be sitting down, but Captain ADD likes to walk around. Those are feeling nice. Hold on. I don't think I'm going to get low enough durometer because I'm not putting heat to these, and they're slightly older tires, but I just put some chemical. Almost 30. Yeah. That's Topaz is probably one of my favorite. It's closest thing to GoPro that I found. Maybe Krug. Krug's pretty universal. Krug's pretty good stuff. But as far as track tack goes, I know better than GoPro is a go-to for a lot of people. But I really like Topaz. But Topaz eventually might go away here because there was a component in it that got like tripled in price since the inflation has happened. And Randy was telling me that might people aren't going to pay that price to keep that in stock. I hope not, but I got a whole gallon, so you might have to fight me for it. I really enjoy this stuff. You're on 3 classes: Saturday clone 325, 350, and small block open 370. Nice. I don't mind running multiple classes now, at least 2. Now, what is Ben going to do when it comes to at AMS? There is going to be the Bill Layfield Memorial Race, and they are 50 lap events. I just got my first time. Let's see, last year. I ran 2 classes. They were 20 laps each. Was pretty tired. And then this year, I have since run double 30s. I've run double 40s. Might as well go for the trifecta and run double 50s. That's in August. If nothing else goes against it, that's my intent. That's going to be interesting. They'll be on 33s by then, though, because my 11s will not take that. I still have old 11s. Yeah, that's here. I'll show you. I start my own engine. Yep, obviously clone. Yep, but right here. Yep. Oh yeah, that's what I do. I'm a one-man show when I go to the track, and I'd accept any help. Sometimes, occasionally, somebody will start me, sitting on the grid or whatever. But I've run, I've run 3 times there this year. I've run 3 times there this year. 2 of the times was double classes, and I've done it all by myself. So yeah, I do see that, like James Stanley, for instance, Phantom. He's just like, hey, anybody, or local friends, hey, anybody want to go race with me? And I need pit help. It's just like, what is this pit help you speak of? What is this? I've been racing so long in UAS by myself, like legit. I used to travel with my cart in a caravan, with the family caravan. I'd peel out that back 3rd row seating and the side seats, and then I'd slide the cart in the back, and then I'd pile everything on top of it, and I'd go racing. And then, just I needed help getting it on the stand, obviously getting there. So there was that little bit of help, but I've always raced by myself. No fault of my wife's. My wife's just not into racing. If I really need some help out here, she'll come out and help me, but she's not the type of wife that's into this type of stuff. So I don't have anybody washing tires. That's me. I'm just one man show. It's cool. It's what I'm used to. Would I accept help if it happened? Yep. But if it doesn't happen, I'll drive 3 hours Saturday and go run by myself, and hopefully I'm going to park by the Peases, and we can. I just like have people with the clone that I can bounce ideas off of. If it's doing this or that, just because I'm new to it. We do that in UAS too, but yeah, E stands are there. Yes, it's a lot heavier, and that's this is one thing that was kind of, I don't want to say nice about it. When I'm racing this year, I have a 4x8 trailer, enclosed trailer. I can only take one cart. Technically, I could put one in the back of my truck if I'm going somewhere, big time. If I'm going to, a big race or anything, I decide to do that. Technically, I can put one in the back of my truck, and then put one in the trailer, and I'll be good to go. But that has limited me to not stressing myself out. I either run the clone and I run one or two classes, or I run UAS, and that's it. I don't want to dig myself too deep, get in there, be freaking out. The one thing I don't like to be at track, I don't mind a hustle bustle and cleaning, but I don't like to be freaked out like I'm not going to make the track by the time they started. Did motocross and hair scrambles myself. Did hair cool. Nice. Yep. Yeah. My old man used to do motocross, and that's some of my fondest memories. That's where 63 came from. Not 63, but 63 is my cart number. So I grew up and I go into the motocross track, and he was running the old 125. He ran a lot of 125s, a little bit of the 250s. So that was late 70s, early 80s when he was running those stuff. Broke his shoulder on a CR 250. So ever since then, I've not liked Honda. Call that weirder? What? Nice. I would I would love to do so much stuff. Eventually, I wanted to, max a million or something like that, or a really big race. But I do not want to show up and be ill prepared. It's all right if I would be a little off on tires. My experience with Maxxis obviously, is not that great. I learn as I go, but I've gotten a little better with them over the years. The more I've run down south, down in lower PA, stuff like that. But equipment wise, financially, this and that, I don't want to be showing up and being in people's way. If there's going to be B mains and stuff, I want to show up to a track and know that I have a chance, maybe not to win, but to make the show and be a respectable racer that people can trust, isn't going to dump them, isn't going to do anything goofy, anything like that. It's really, and that's when I talk about myself, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm not trying to make this stuff about myself. I'm relaying it to you guys. Maybe this is stuff that some people might consider. Like, yeah, it'd be great to go to one of these huge shows with 300 to 400 carts or whatever. Make sure you are as good as you possibly can be when you show up to these things, because you don't want to be out there with broken jazz bumpers falling off and haphazardly making yourself not look good. It doesn't mean you have to make the A main. It doesn't mean just represent yourself well and try and do your best. Know that the big show is a big show for a reason. There's a reason why there's 10,000 to win, because those guys are serious. Somebody mentioned something about that. Do I think I could drive with some of the upper talent? I think I could hold my own if my equipment and tires were up to snuff. I can wheel a cart pretty decent. Am I as good as some people? No, they're really good. They've been racing for a long time, but I try. Okay, what do I got? All right, yes, okay. talk about washing tires on the cart versus removing tires and using heated water washing machines. Okay. Um, Preferably take the, doesn't mean I do it all the time. Sometimes I'm super lazy. So do as I say, don't do as I do. Take tires off, bearings. You want to keep your bearings from being wet. It's just unnecessary to get bearings wet. Steel does not like water. First and foremost, also, you can pay way better attention to the surface of your tire to make sure it is clean. As far as heated water, hot water cleans better than cold water. Is it necessary? No. Um, does it help? Yes, absolutely. If you want to do it, cool, but it's kind of an add-on. Most people just have a standard. They have a wash bucket and they take it. I like to set my tire on the side of my wash bucket and just kind of scrub. Take a dip of water, scrub after I got the hole saturated, and then of course I would be remiss if I didn't use the Track Tech blue tire wash. So we'll throw them there. But yeah, honestly, take your tires off. I know I don't always do it. I just prep tires on the cart. I prefer not to do that either, but it happens. At the track, if you're in a pinch, wash them on the cart. Do what you got to do. If you're you need to get to the grid, whatever, you're running multiple classes, you're running the same set of tires. Do what you got to do, but ideally come in, take the tires off, wash bucket. You can really concentrate, wash them, dry them. You can put them directly back on the cart if you want, but wipe them off, set them on the table, set them on the ground, let them dry off, and then decide what you're going to do with them. As far as heater, it's an add-on. It's great if you get hot water, cleans better. Wash your hands. Cold water compared to hot water, it'll clean the tread better. If not, if you don't have any of those things, Track Tack Blue Tire Wash, spray them down, lather them up real good, wipe that stuff off. It's pretty darn good stuff. Okay. Page, that's me. Nice. Nice. Yeah. I love motocross. There's a very good reason I don't run it. I would hurt myself terribly. I know I'm way too competitive. I just, you should hear me on Call of Duty. I am MFing everything and claiming that the game is cheating. I am super, super duper competitive in pretty much everything I do. My buddies all know it. I don't race motocross for a reason. I would definitely hurt myself because I can make that triple, right? It's like, no, you can't. I've barely been on a bike for a reason that I know though that but I love to watch it. I watch Supercross, I watch motocross, really into that stuff. So, even the vintage stuff, obviously two stroke. I wish two stroke still were in it, but they have what sells on Saturday, sells on Monday. That's kind of a weird thing to say, but they want to push 4 strokes. They're not going to allow the 2 strokes. Let the 2 strokes be 450s, and see what they can do. But they don't want to. They don't want to have that. They don't want to have a 2 smoke. Uh, see this year. Nice. Yes. People can say what they want about bursts. I like bursts. When they work great. Now I haven't experienced this yet. So there is a thing where you can't run a tire more than once. And you can't run old tires. You got to run brand new tires. Is this just follow the leader stuff or is this actually true? Are you losing tenths to somebody? Like once a tire has completely cooled down from a run, is it not as fast as one that hasn't hit the track there yet? I have a hard time believing that. Is it going to keep people from doing it? Like you have to have another, have a brand new set every single time you hit the track. I have a hard time believing that to be true. But if somebody wins or somebody does well by doing it, monkey see, monkey do, they're going to copy that person. Hey, that person isn't running that set of tires more than once that day. And Burris is, up here, that's a real big thing because I'm in Burris country. That hey, don't run the same tire. I would argue the point that they would be fine as long as they have cooled off in between sessions. But you know, rubber is rubber. I mean, once it cools down, why would it care how many times it's been run that day? It doesn't have a memory that I know of. But yeah, Burris Nationals is going to be on the big kart track. I love big tracks. Uh, I like drafting. There used to be Trailways, the Kart Classic in PA, and I took my KT 100 one time, or my buddy's KT 100. Ended up third there. Ran UAS there one time. Big paper clip. I mean, drafting in the KT 100, you draft and you could pull out a line and feel the draft hit you, tuck back in and try and get a run in the corner because that's all you could do. Wesley LeBlanc is. I don't know that he has a if he has a YouTube channel, but you can find Wesley on Facebook. He is also Kinetic Racing Chassis. He's the owner of Kinetic Racing Chassis, and he also owns CKI Competition Kart Incorporated. Is that right? CKI Karts and Parts. That's where they sell Kinetics out of. So he owns both of those things. But yeah, he's on Facebook. I don't know about YouTube. He doesn't. I don't think he has a YouTube. CKA might have, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I love to go down south. I really do. I love the food. I love the tracks. I love that you guys race more. I love the weather. I love the freedom that Southerners tend to have over us Northerners. Yeah, Track Tech Orange is probably um, my most recommended tire prep. People who aren't into tire prep have never experienced it, or they've only used WD-40 as a tire prep, or oh, my dad's got this mix of diesel and transmission fluid. Not saying it doesn't work. Absolutely, it'd work. But if you're just getting into tire prep, my most recommended prep to dip your toe in is orange. It will fire off the tire. It loves water. It's just a great universal prep that isn't going to drop durometer or cause any harm to your tire. It's only going to amplify things. So it's just the easiest one to say, hey, use this. Next up, maybe AT2. That's probably real close to a hot lap 2. Real basic prep. The AT2 is the basis of a lot of track techs mix, from what I know. With other things added into it. So there's that. But yeah, orange is fantastic. If you're looking for a cold weather prep, though, SQS is the orange version of if it's like sub 50 degrees. If you're running in cold, run SQS. It's got a bite component in it. It's going to drop your durometer a little bit more than the orange will. But fantastic for cold weather stuff. SAA, grape, a wipe of that, and a wipe of SQS, and on cold weather. The only win I have this year was that formulation right there. I was running back in April, ran down to AMS, and I won the feature in Clone 375, and it was a wipe of SAA grape and then a wipe of SQS because it was sub 50 degrees. I was freezing my tushy off. What should I do if you're loose in the very middle of the corner and having to let out? Could be variabilities there. Loose in the center of the corner, you're either your traction has given up, so your tires might be off. Would be my first go-to. That you're missing something durometer wise, you're missing something with the tires that they're not biting correctly. The other thing might be you might have a little too much stagger in it. If it's turning too well in the center and you're losing grip right there in the center, but I would lean more towards something tire wise, possibly air pressure. If the tire is about what everybody else is running, you might want to go with a little lower air pressure, something like that. Maybe a little more aggressive prep to bring the tire in to keep the tire, or maybe multiple layers of prep in order to keep the tire in the track longer. That's possible. So it's really tough to say. Those are generalizations, but something worth trying. Air pressure, I'd say first, maybe a little more. If you don't feel as if your tires are giving up as a whole by the end of the run, you might be able to go a little more aggressive on prep. If that's not the case, I don't know what air pressures you're running, but if you want to drop air pressure, see if that builds bite overall to the cart to where you lose that, or you don't, you take out the loss of grip in the center of the corner. Wesley Hecker runs CKA. CKA does do engines, as far as I know. So yes, yeah, they've been a Kart company for a very long time. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Mickey. Yeah, that's their name. Which is that's got to be a southern thing. I mean, Mickey's up here. I'm trying to add the most amount of grip possible in the tires. What do you recommend? It's for an open, so no worry on locking the cart down. I am going to say GoP is the go-to by most people. I'm a track tack guy, so I'm going to recommend track tack over GoP. The only reason, and here I'll give a quick explanation here. GoP is amazing. GoP works every single time it's tried. It is bite in a can. It works awesome. The extended use of GoP, the chemical that is breaking down the tire rubber, is eventually going to destroy the oils in the tire. And once your durometer on a goat tire starts to go up, there you can try and get it back down with some more go. Just keep on layering go, but eventually the destruction of the tread is going to go away. Your durometer is going to go, and there ain't no getting it back. So once a goat tire, always a goat tire. They work fantastic. Goat is a great prep. But once a goat tire, always a goat tire. That tire is eventually going to lose its life if you're not looking to, if you don't care about tire bill and you're willing to just, hey, have at, just I'm willing to do whatever to get grip. Goat P is your way to go. On the track tack side of things, if you want longevity out of your tire, better than Goat P is going to be, one option. That's not going to, it's going to drop the diameter of the tire. Arguably, maybe there's more bite in Goat P. There's an argument to be made there, but I would say it's negligible if you use Better and Go P properly. But what Better and Go P is going to do is not lose that life cycle of the carcass of your tire. So it's not going to become junk eventually. The durometer may not always stay down, but as it comes back up, it will be able to come down because there's oils and stuff. You can also do what this is a trick on burrs that a friend of mine taught me a long time ago: half Better than Goat P and half Goat P. That adds oils, it adds things into the Goat P, so the Goat P does not have, as adverse effect on the tire. But I'd say those two, if you're not worried. Also, hold on. Not as aggressive on the dropping of the durometer. SST5 is another option if you're not looking to drop durometer a ton, enough. Don't get me wrong, it'll drop durometer, but it adds a crap ton of bite into the tire. SST5 is a really good one. My favorite of the track tack line for bite, for those real soft tracks for building bite in tire is Topaz. It's the closest thing to GoP I think that track tack offers. GoP is really good, but I think Topaz is the better of the two for my preference. I won't say better, but it's my preference to use Topaz over BTGP. Also, I like the smell of Topaz, the cherry of the BTGP. Now, internally, I will say BTGP and SAA Grape 50/50 as an internal on Vega Yellows. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. It is probably, I have a second mix that I like to run internally on Vegas that runs a little better on your medium tracks. But for a soft track, there's something about BTGP and SAA Grape blended 50/50 internally on a Vega Yellow that just absolutely hits perfect. Yes, Topaz drops Duro. Absolutely. It's pretty aggressive stuff. I'd say SST5 is probably a 7 out of 10. And I'd say BTGP is a 9 out of 10. And Topaz is a 10 out of 10 in the track tack line as far as how soft it's going to make your tires. But, all right, guys. It has been, and we're working on an hour here. I'll just start doing the outro niceties and all that stuff. December, and it's been an awesome motor. Awesome. Yeah, yeah. Wesley's a good dude. Known him for years. He used to the one of the things that inspired me to do some of this stuff, especially a live stream, was Wesley actually did this thing back on Periscope where he'd get on and he'd answer questions. To whoever would jump on, and I'd jump on there being a UAS guy, and I'd mention stuff, and you'd talk about it a little bit, this and that. So yeah, we've been acquaintances, friends, if you will, for quite a while. So when he asked me to be part of Dirt Kart Racer, I was like, heck yeah. First off, the engagement. I like helping people. I do my best to do that. Help new racers, especially. The sport isn't anything unless we have new racers coming in, and if things are just so complex, if they come in and they're just like, I'm not willing to do that, that's just too hard to understand. I'm here to help. I want to keep you guys having fun racing. Like, I have no intent of ever upgrading my stuff. I've been racing karts for 22 years this year, and I love it. It's what I do. Could I upgrade? Sure, probably. It's cubic dollars. I don't want to go chase that. I don't want to go tear up stuff. And I prefer this. I like the basics. It's racing, and there's enough in karting to keep anybody busy. So, but yeah. All right, we're. Oh wait, there's Wesley. I'm trying to add. Did it add? Uh-oh. Wesley tried to jump in. I thought he did. See if he tries again or not. What's this? Cancel. Oh, there he is. Hey!
Yay!
I've been jabbing around for an hour here.
Yeah, I know. I've been watching the comments trying to keep up, but I couldn't listen to you because I had the voice on my other call.
All
and
right.
So I was very lost. Very, very lost. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm here. Hey guys.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I was just about to get off, but I can stay on for a little bit.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, if we got to wrap it up, we'll wrap it up.
No.
So
How are things going? Did you get all your stuff done?
I got my call done, so I mean, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's a live call, and the replays, for whatever reason, Thursdays the replays don't always get recorded, and it's not something that I really can miss at this point in time. So
Yeah. Yep. No worries.
but yeah, no, all good. I know they got a Midwest Race of Champions this weekend, so
Nice.
I think there's all your burst guys are getting ready for
Yeah.
that. I know I talked to a couple of people. Some of the Southeast guys are going too, because I think the dates work out this year where there's no big Southeast races. So they have I think they had about 500 something last year entries.
Wow.
So I'm sure they'll have a ton. It's like, I mean, other than like the Big O, I don't know of any other race annually now that's any bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'd
That's a
say
lot
that one and the
of.
Big O is about the same.
Yep.
They both draw at 500-600 mark. So
Wow.
it's cool to see. I love it. And then they're doing it at Eldora again this year, which they had a good turnout. I mean, it provides good racing. Like they've moved it around over the last couple of
Yep.
years, and I think Eldora is a really racy track because it's got a little bit tighter
Yeah.
corners, longer straightaways, and just changing it up, you know. But
Cool.
that and trying to figure out, let's see, the rest of the year really. I mean, what we got the Big O coming up a couple weeks.
Yep.
I actually thought about going
Eventually,
North
that's
Carolina
a
that
bucket list
weekend.
thing. That's definitely a bucket list track.
Have you been?
Mm-mm.
I didn't know if maybe
Not
you
yet.
rode down and watched or anything.
No. It's on the list of things to do. There's a couple of real big ones I've hit. I don't even say marquee races. I've hit. I'm more about the track, but the Big O is
Mm,
definitely something that eventually is just. It's like every time it doesn't line up with whatever I'm doing, and it's just like my finances. It's midsummer. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
right.
right. Yeah,
Yep.
I get that. We'll have to figure out, like, next year we can go down there and at least hang out there. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Well,
I used to go run it every year, and I
right?
loved it, but it's not in the cards right now.
Yeah. The it just it makes me think every time, and now that it's a single card, I don't have to worry about pulling a big trailer and stuff. My truck doesn't do that bad. I got a different truck. Doesn't do that bad pulling this little 4x8. It's just like if I'm going down there, I might as well take the cart. But it's just like I said, cubic dollars. It's like ugh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's always an expensive trip, even if you don't do nothing but go watch. I mean, by the
I got
time you're
I
there
got
and
I got nice seasoned Maxis sitting over here. They're going to be a couple years old by the time I get to use them, but they'll be nice and hardened up.
there you go. Yeah.
Might be perfect.
I do like that the last couple years they've went to buying tires at the track for the big
Oh yeah,
classes. So I think that's
yeah,
fair. I think that helps out. I mean, you're gonna go that way. You're gonna buy new tires anyway for a race that big.
yep.
So at least that kind of puts everybody on somewhat of
That's yeah,
a playing field and an expectation, really, right?
yep,
Where it's like you know what you got when you get there.
yep.
Everybody's got to make the most of it.
See, that's the when we had the Grand Nationals at Hunterstown. I were getting there and I was talking with people. They're just like, "Yeah, I've been, I scuffed tires back in May for this race." It's like it's September. I'm like, you
Right.
bought tires in May for September? I'm like, I bought my tires a month ago.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
and
know.
they were, and you could tell because I went out there and I chewed up the inside edge. I'm like, oh, those are soft.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely got to know
So
what you're doing when you're doing that stuff. Yep.
you going racing this weekend?
The intent is now. I reached out to Pease there, and I was thinking about going to this one track, and it's hour and a half for me. I was like, I want to experience more tracks. I'm like, I go to this, and nothing against them, but last time they had Clone 360 there was 4 carts showed up, and I'm like, I don't want to drive all the way for 4 carts. And then, not
Hmm.
saying I know exactly how many are going to show up to this track, but P said they were going down to the PA to this other track that I really wanted to try. I'm like, you know what? And he said they're only running like twice more this year at that particular track. So I'm like, maybe I'll just, it's 3 hour pull. It's not that bad. All right, go down there, run it, just and plus they say soft Vegas are the tire choice. I'm like,
You
yeah,
got that?
yeah, I got some of them. Cool.
Yeah.
I might not be, out to lunch on tires, uh, but yep, I got two decent sets that are ready to rip now. And I was like, that's last night. I was propping tires, and then I was just like, I'm talking to you guys. Let me put a little more on here. Just make sure
That's
they're
right.
good and goopy.
That's right.
But
One more time never hurts.
yep, yeah, that's when I came out. I opened the door to get the live stream going, and I was just like, I just get this wafted. I'm wiping Topaz on. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
ah,
That'll
that's
clean
it.
your sinuses up for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, no doubt. But
Just don't burn
yeah,
it. It'll make your sinuses swollen and hurt.
yep.
I've done
But
that many a time.
I probably should get off here because usually my wife wants to take the dog for a walk, so
Yeah,
she
go
gripes
ahead.
at me when I get going too long.
I understand. Well, go get
Yep.
them dogs walked, and if you
Yep.
get to race, good luck. And
All right.
hopefully, I'll be
Thanks.
able to. Next Thursday, I won't be. I know for sure I won't be able to tune in because I'll be in Dallas. So
Oh, okay.
I'm going out of town. So actually, probably the next two because the Thursday after that, I'm actually going to Louisiana. I'm going to try to get on that Thursday, but I'm not. I'll be in
Okay.
Louisiana, so
Yep.
we'll
This
see.
worked out a little better only because I set it for the
Yeah,
time, and therefore I could share it into the group, and then all you have to do is click it, and then it brings you here. It's like, oh,
nice.
that works a lot better.
Yeah,
But
for
it's
sure. What I
yep.
might
I just
do is see if I can get somebody else on, like guests, to come on with you or something like that. Being that I'm going to be tied up for next week, or
okay.
or if you know a guest that wants to come on or whatever,
Okay.
I think that would be good.
Sounds good to me. But
Okay,
all right,
I'll
man.
see what I can do. I've been a little bit balls to wall, so
Yeah, yeah.
I
No,
know I
that's
hadn't
and
caught up with you
that
lately.
honestly, no worries on it. I can talk. It ain't as long as somebody pops something in the chat, I'll just go on and just
Yeah,
talk about whatever they want to talk about. It's like cool, man.
that's right.
As
Well, I
long as there's not
appreciate
two
it.
people in here not talking, I'm fine.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know everybody appreciates it, and I appreciate it. So we'll uh we'll keep doing it, and we got to figure out at least one race to get together this year.
Right? Yeah, I know. All right, man.
We got time.
Yes. All
All
right.
right. See you.
See ya.